Nick and I have taken the train an hour and a half north from Bucharest to the town of Sinaia, about 2/3 the way to Brasov. So we've got a night booked here. I'm keen to go for a hike up the hill and just gonna grab some food and do that, check out the autumn colours. Nick has got his paraglider on his back, so fingers crossed he'll be able to do a flight.
And there's
if
snow
the weather
up there.
holds up. Yeah, a bit of snow up there as well. And yeah, the leaves here look awesome. On our hike into the hills now, we're just past Palace Castle. Pretty impressive. Yeah, Romania overall is pretty impressive actually. We've made it up the tree line on our little hike. It's 1600 meters or so, which I think we started about 850 at the hotel. So doing okay. But not much to be said for the view at the moment. Pretty much fogged in, and I'm not that optimistic that it's going to clear. We ended up turning around at that tree line spot there and just heading down. So we just realized that that cloud that was up there is probably going to hang around. It was, I think, nicer in the trees here enjoying the autumn color than up there in the grassy area anyway. From Brasov this morning, I've taken a bus about 25 minutes to a ski town called Poiana, Brasov, and I'm just going to go on a hike from here back to Brasov. I think it's somewhere between 12 and 15 kilometers, and it is super cold here. But yeah, very, very quiet little spot, this Poiana, Brasov. I've made it to what I think will be the high point for my hike at about 1440 meters, so about a climb of 400 meters from the bus stop where I started. And it seems I've made my way from autumn to early winter on the way. So it's snowing very lightly now, and you can see some snow's accumulated here as well. I don't think that's accumulated from this morning. I guess it's a day old, but a little bit hard to tell. Anyway, I've got a walk of about 10 kilometers from here to get back to Brasov, and like I say, that's mostly downhill. So I'm going to put on some warmer clothes and continue the walk. It's pretty nice actually. It's good walking in this light snow. Making my way back into Brasov now. The snow turned back into, let's call it, autumnal rain. So a bit damp now, but it's been nice enough. In any case, ready for Brasov and getting something to eat. Some kind of warm meal. So I made it back into Brasov and just grabbed some pizza, which I've already gobbled up. And I also got this thing, Cocina Cuvicene, something like that. So it costs 3 lei, and it's just like a sweet cherry dough ring thing. Yeah, pretty impressive. So 3 lei, it's about $1 Australian. I don't know, 60 US cents, 70 US cents, something like that. So kind of a bargain. So yesterday Nick and I arrived in Sighișoara, which is a 3-hour train from Brasov. Gone out for a little walk this morning. Sunday morning, walked up to the top of the hill above at the high point of the citadel, and there's Sunday mass going on there behind me, and yeah, otherwise just out for a nice walk above town. I was just reading a little bit about the history of Sighișoara on Wikipedia, and I just can't make any sense of history of Romania. It's just so back and forth, higgledy-piggledy, controlled by these guys and those guys, the Dacians, the Hungarians. It's all too much for me. So, as an example of that, apparently Sighișoara was settled by German settlers who were invited by the King of Hungary to help defend this part of Transylvania. Like, good luck making any sense of that. So anyway, apparently most of the buildings are 16th century, and I also read that it's the best preserved citadel of its type in Europe. So there's another little piece of trivia for you all. So I did 3 nights in Cluj, but it's time for me to move on. Didn't do a lot there. I basically just did a quick tour around the city centre, and then yesterday did a small hike. But anyway, today I've come to Alba. Alba something, but it seems to be just known as Alba, A-L-B-A. Anyway, there's a historic kind of citadel here, which I'll go and check out later. But firstly, I'm just gonna try and make my way up the hill above town. So it's about 3 o'clock now, and should be a couple of hours to get up there. So better get started. Got to bear in mind sunset. Anyway, just staying in an older area, some old apartment blocks. They look kind of Soviet style to me, but maybe the paint job is more recent than that. Anyway, the apartment I'm in, it's just the Airbnb, pretty nice inside. Yeah. Anyway, feels like typical kind of suburban apartment blocks for Romania. Just over the fence here from me, it looks like it's the old swimming pools. Not sure if they're just closed for winter. I think they're much more likely closed for the decade, or perhaps the century. There's a lot of dog barking in the background, which from my perspective is a little ominous. I'll try to avoid getting savaged by dogs when out on hikes, but they usually tend to be pretty threatening to me for some reason. I always get the barks. Well, there's a few unexpected little bugs that have been landing on my face, although mostly it's when I slow down. Anyway, apart from that, it's pretty peaceful. And I haven't heard any savage sounding dogs barking lately either, so that's also a positive. Bugs are getting kind of annoying actually. Really hadn't expected them at this time of year. I would imagine the temperature's in the low teens, and I guess I figured it's just going to be a little bit cold for them, but they've been pretty annoying actually. I'm at a clearing just below the summit of whatever the hill is just above Alba. Not really sure what the name is, but it's about 750 meters. So I think that was like a climb of 400 or so. And not sure, I'm going to peek my head around the corner to see if there's a view over town and the citadel, but at least there's a good view in the opposite direction. So I know what that looks like now. It's all worthwhile. So anyway, I'm gonna peek my head around the corner and see what I can see of town. It turns out that you can't see a thing. Perhaps if I was, say, 3 or 4 meters taller, but looks like the trees block out the view this time. So I've made my way about 80% of the way back down the hill and taken a different route to the one that I followed up. So I finally have a little bit of a view of the city. I can see the citadel in the distance there. I think it's 8:30, 9 o'clock. Pretty foggy this morning. Thick fog actually. I'm gonna go and do a little bit of a walk anyway. Try and check out the citadel. I feel like I'm in a very holy place this morning. Anyway, it's quite foggy as well, so it's quite a cool scene actually. This citadel is so far so good, even though I'm just at the very edges. So I'm just next to what I guess is the main church or monastery in the citadel. Actually, no, there's one literally next door that looks 6 feet taller. But in any case, I'm in a little covered strip with what looks like some old Roman artifacts. Don't know about that. It turns out it's also a good place to dry your tea towels in the morning. But yeah, so far so good on the citadel. It's great. Very haunting with the fog and the church sermon in the background. I did a couple of days up in Sibiu. Just did a little sightseeing around the historical area, but didn't get out that much basically. Not one to spend too much time exploring a city. Yesterday I took a train through the Fagaras mountains to a little town called Cluj-Napoca, and this morning I've started a hike. I'm going to have to look at the map actually. Ciuha Mare, I think that's the mountain I'm heading up, something like that. Anyway, it's about a 1200 meter gain. 11 AM now. I'm going to try and look up Ciuha Mare. I've not got a good record of pronouncing Romanian names correctly, but that's my best attempt at that one. Anyway, 1200 meter climb. I think I'm about 250 into it, so sweating away, and plenty more of that to come. So the trail that I've been on has turned from very smooth and easy going, you could drive a car up it basically, to precipitous, and I can't believe this is actually a marked trail kind of situation. So from here to the summit, it's 900 meter vertical and 3 kilometers, you know, on foot or across or whatever. So very steep. I have a feeling I might not make it to the top. I've been persisting on this extremely steep trail, and yeah, I still just can't believe it's been marked at all. I've scrambled up these rocks here, and I think that's led me off the trail. It's just a little bit hard to tell. It must be making its way along the bottom of this rock here. I believe I actually am on the marked route here, and I think that pretty much means it's a little bit too much for me, because it's pretty steep here and I do not have a parachute. So, I mean, I don't know, but basically according to the map, the route just seems to go straight up these rocks here somewhere, and it's definitely rock climbable, but I'm on my own and I don't have any gear for doing anything like that, and I don't want to climb up something that I have trouble getting back down. So I'll go back down to where this difficult trail separates from the easy one, and I will continue up on the easy one, but I guess I've lost a little bit of time here now, so there's a bit less chance of me making it to the top. So I've done the retreat down that rough section, and I'm back at the path that should be much easier to follow leading up the hill. So typical bloody Europe. You think you're out in the middle of the wilderness and then you suddenly realise there's a giant car park and a monastery. So I just had a little chat with the monk, probably exchanged about 10 words, his English being pretty limited. I have made it to the summit of Ciuha Mare, and it's a little after 4 o'clock now, I think, so I won't be hanging around up here long. Turns out there's a car park about 90 meters below me. Seems like I didn't take the low effort route to getting to the summit here. Yeah, it was a challenging walk. Probably climbed about 1600 meters. Definitely if you include that little detour that I did. I've made it back down to the monastery, which means that I've got about 6.8 kilometers to get back to where I'm staying in Balsa, and sunset is in about 45 minutes. So if I end up walking all the way back, I think it'll be dark when I get back. It's not too bad, I've got a headlight and I'm on a road anyway. And I'll probably try hitchhiking, but I'm not expecting a lot of traffic along this little road. I'm going to take the train to Bucharest this afternoon, so flying off out of Romania tomorrow. But before taking the train, I just decided to take a wander off to this little monastery, a few kilometers walk from where I'm staying. So this is Turnu Monastery. Gonna take a look around, go for a little wander, and then head back.